I got a question. Can you paint your house white if you wanted to? Can you paint your house green or blue? Paint your wall red. Imagine the red color. Are you allowed to paint your house green, blue, or red if you wanted to? Okay. What if you have a child that's got issues with a particular color? Or let's say a nephew that stays in your house. As reaction to the red color. Perhaps he gets hallucination or bad dreams or stuff like that. Can you say, okay, it's my house, I'm going to still paint it red because it's my house? Or would you be considerate of your nephew who's got issues with the red color? Or perhaps, I don't know, because you're being a nice person. Are you obliged to be considerate to your nephew who has issues with the red color? Or you are obliged to do it? Let me say, are you obliged to be considerate with the nephew? Or it's your call because it's your house. You can decide whether you want to put the color or not. Or doesn't really matter whether the nephew is bothered by it or not. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. Always a beautiful day. Always nice to talk to you. If you answer to that question, we're going to find it out. We are in Russia, yeah. So Russia plans to force foreign nationals to sign a loyalty agreement before entering the country. So from now on, if you want to take a flight to Russia, you're going to have to sign a loyalty agreement. Yeah, no more just going to Russia. You're going to sign. Russia plans to make foreigners entering the country sign a loyalty agreement. The bill will ban foreigners from criticizing official policies and the Soviet military history. So you're not allowed to criticize Russian policies anymore. If you want to go visit, if you want a visa, you probably have to. I've been to Russia before. Was a nice experience, but very cold. And I saw some of the girls, my God. Lovely ladies, eh? I was going to McDonald's. It was freezing cold. The ground was ice, like refrigerator. I'm telling you, just imagine coming from Africa and going to Russia. Refrigerator. And I saw some lovely lady coming out of McDonald's wearing miniskirt. And they're just going, ha 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 ha, spasiba. I was like, what? Yeah. I was frozen. And they're like wearing miniskirt coming out of McDonald's. Anyway, so Russia's going to make you sign an agreement before you go to Russia. They say the bill will ban foreigners from criticizing official policies of the country. Russia is planning to quell criticism of Vladimir Putin's regime by forcing foreigners entering the country to sign loyalty agreements. Okay, this is obviously critics from the West. Russia's Interior Ministry is introducing a draft bill for the loyalty pledge under which foreigners will be prohibited to discredit the country's domestic and foreign policies and public authority or government official. The intent of the draft bill is to protect Russia's national interest, they say, citing the document. The bill will ban foreigners from criticizing official policies of the Soviet Union. People are very upset about that. I mean, how do you feel about this? You cannot criticize official policies in Russia. Sounds bad, right? Sounds really, really bad. But hey, there are countries where you can't criticize either. It's not just Russia. I'm just saying. There are countries in the Middle East you can't just say anything. Come on. You're going to go to jail for not acknowledging what everybody thinks or what everybody says. Yeah, there are countries you can't criticize. In France, there are certain people or certain group of people in France, you can't criticize them. If you criticize them, they're going to hit you with something. They're going to say you are not a nice person and people will cut you off. And if you continue, they might even throw you in jail or find some issues in your passport or some issue with your history. Yeah, there are some people in Britain you can't criticize. Yeah, they're probably the same people. You cannot criticize them. Same people in the US, you can't criticize them. I'm just saying. So if Russia says, I don't want to be criticized in my country, you want to come in my house and criticize me? I mean, would you like somebody to come in your house and start criticizing how you have your things laid out? Like, I don't like that painting on the wall. I don't like those whatever accessories you have. Did you see his couch? I mean, you want to come visit my house? Then shouldn't you just live by the rules of my house? Nobody forces you to come here, right? It shouldn't be a big deal, right? How do you feel about this? Again, Russia, and it again. Russia has put a ban on LGBT. Okay, so no more activism in Russia. You can't protect LGBTs in Russia. You cannot fight for them. You cannot speak for them. The ban on LGBT movement in Russia, Putin exploits the fears of LGBTs. So Russia's Supreme Court on Thursday banned the LGBT plus movement and called it extremist. So people who defend their rights, the LGBT who defend their rights, are now exposed to prosecution and prison sentences. So if you declare yourself being LGBT, you could go to jail. If you protect and you try to defend LGBT, you could go to jail. For Vladimir Putin, LGBT community with Russian president depicts it as an internal enemy. He says LGBT is an internal enemy and the decadent values. They say those movements reflect Western nation values. These are not Russian values. It goes against their church, okay, the Orthodox Church. That's what they believe. Thursday, November 30th, Russia's Supreme Court went so far as to ban international LGBT movement and called it extremism. These are latest episodes of war waged by Vladimir Putin against the regime of LGBT. Okay, so we know in Russia, okay, fellas, let me just put in context. In Russia, you can't be like that. Okay, that's part of their, they want to be men. In fact, let me put it this way for you. If there was to be a war, okay, like a world war where you would not use guns, no weapons, no missiles, no airplanes, nothing, just fist, guess who's going to win? Russia will win that war. Because all men in that country are solid. Have you seen a Russian before? Well, I've fought a Russian before I fought Russians in boxing and kickboxing. Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost both fights. Very tough people. So they do not accept or tolerate things that they feel do not belong to them. Okay, they feel like that is a reflection of the West, and they don't want to be that way. So they chose the law to abolish, to banish anybody that's doing things in that manner. Okay, so this is very close to what Uganda did, right? Okay, very close to what Uganda did. And now my question is, can Russia do that? Are they allowed to do that in their house? Is it okay that Russia says we don't want this type of things in their house, in their families, I don't know. People choose what they want for themselves, right? Okay, but now you tell me, is it okay that they do that, or is it unfair on the people that want to be the way they want to be in that country? So apparently they say they're not fighting people who choose to be with people like themselves. They say they're fighting people who are trying to promote those ideas. I'm not sure who's telling the truth here, but Russians apparently say they're fighting people who are promoting those values, just like Uganda. And also, there is a problem here, okay? Uganda was sanctioned because they went and voted a law saying that whoever promotes those things and also have an encounter with somebody and has something in his blood that goes through, you know what I mean, when you do, I'm not going to say those things, and you do with somebody and whatever is in your blood going to theirs, you're going to be, that's the law that voted in Uganda. They don't want it because Uganda is a country that's Christian and Muslim, and they have their own traditional values. My question again is here. Is it okay for a country to say we're going to paint our wall white? That's how we want it. There are some of our children that don't like the white color, but we're still going to paint it white. Or should they pay a price for that? Now, my question also is this. Saudi Arabia, you cannot do that in Saudi Arabia. You can't do that in Qatar. You can't do that in Dubai like that. Not at that level, especially Saudi Arabia and Qatar. You can't. You'll be arrested. They will do some very bad things to you. Very, very bad things, trust me. But people don't make noise about that. Why? Why don't they get sanctions also? Like what's unfair is unfair. If they would not allow that. I mean, what's happened in Saudi Arabia is crazy. They do some crazy stuff over there with people who are, Why don't they get sanctioned? Why is it not big news? Oh, it's because Saudi Arabia has the oil that everybody needs. They set the price of oil. They influence at least the price of oil. Okay, they signed a contract, whatever, an agreement with America in terms of the petrol dollar. So basically, in the 1960s, the United States of America, to keep the money, the dollar strong, went to Saudi Arabia. Some of the people went to Saudi Arabia discussing with the king at the time, saying, listen, you have the most oil in the world, okay? And the oil movement in the world really depends on how your mood is for the day. Now, we know you and Iran don't get along, okay? Iran is one of your fiercest enemies. We also have beef with Iran. But what we can do for you is we can provide security for you. We can provide guns, military, soldiers, security for the whole country. Make sure that Iran doesn't dare to attack you. Also equip you with weapons, state of the art equipment. We can give you that. But in one condition, every time any country want to buy oil in your country, they have to exchange their currency into dollar first, then they can purchase from you. So whichever country, let's say an African country colonized by the French, if they want to buy petrol, oil from Saudi Arabia, they have first to take their CFA franc, convert it into dollars. Obviously, they're going to lose value and a lot of money, then buy the oil. So you cannot just buy oil from your money. That was the agreement between America and them. So we provide you defense, we provide you security, but you make sure that everybody that buys oil buys in dollars. Now, that's made the dollar the money of the world. It's kept the dollar very strong because everybody needs the dollar. Now, very lately, China destroyed that because that had to perpetuate the fear of Iran. As long as Saudi Arabia is scared of Iran, America can still come in between them and say, okay, we're going to give you security, but you're going to make sure you sell your petrol or your oil in dollars. Okay? And that's stayed like that for a very long time. Until lately, when China went to Iran and Saudi Arabia. China messed the party. Say, okay, finish your party. Iran, come here. Saudi Arabia, come here. Let's have a chat. How about you sit around the table and finish your point? Yeah, talk about your beef. How about you sit around the table and finish this problem? I want you to be done with it already. Saudi Arabia agreed to talk to Iran. They had a chat. And for the very first time in the longest time, Saudi Arabia and Iran shook hands. Now, that's a problem for the US because the US, remember, dollar stayed strong because Saudi Arabia sold oil in dollars. Now, Saudi Arabia is no longer scared of Iran like they used to be in the past. Not just for issue purpose. Saudi Arabia does also apply these things. They say they don't want those things in their country. Yeah, so why don't they get sanctioned? That's my question. Can you paint your house white? Can you paint your house red without anybody coming in and say something about it? I mean, provided that people don't get, allergies and you force them to stay in where they can harm themselves. But can you make a choice? Put lights when it's Christmas in your house, red lights if you want, or green. Should you do your house like everybody? I mean, if everybody paints white, do you also have to paint white for you to be accepted and called democratic or whatever that is? Let me know how you feel about this. It's always a great pleasure. Again, Russia, if you want to go to Russia, from now on, you have to sign a paper saying you're not going to criticize Russia. But I say to you, it's not just Russia, okay? Some other countries also, maybe they don't say it openly like this, but there are things you don't criticize when you go to those countries. If you criticize them, they're going to throw you out. As simple as that. If they don't crush you, they're going to throw you out. Again, Russia now says they're banning all activism with regard to that. No more talking, protecting, no more. They don't want it in their society because they feel like it goes against their values, their Christian values. How do you feel about this? I'm very curious to know how you feel about this. Let me know. It's always a great pleasure to read from you. God bless.